Here I have 3 generations of Insta360 cameras, the X3, X4 and the new X5. But how much better is the X5 really? Hey, what's up guys, Andy here. I've used these cameras for years, and what I love about 360 cameras is that you can just focus on the moment without worrying too much about framing, because they shoot everything around you. But with new models dropping every year, it's kinda hard to tell which Insta360 is actually worth getting. So in this video, I compared them side by side to find out what's really changed and which one makes the most sense for you. Let's start with daylight. Quick note, links to all the cameras are in the description. Using them helps keep this channel going, so thanks for the support. Now, daylight is where most people use these cameras. At first, all 3 cameras look great in daylight. The footage is sharp, colors pop, and everything looks good until you start looking closer. That's when you start noticing how much the X5 actually improves over the older models. The contrast looks more natural, the highlights aren't blown out, and the overall image just feels cleaner and more balanced straight out of camera. You really start noticing the difference when you zoom into your clips. And since 360 cameras use super wide fisheye lenses, zooming in is kind of part of the process. That's when the extra sharpness from the X5 really shows. The details just hold up better, and the image stays cleaner even when you reframe. Now, when it comes to colors and dynamic range, that's where the X5 really starts to separate itself. With the older models like the X3 and even the X4, you'd often lose details in the brightest parts of the image. The sky would blow out or your face would fall into shadow when moving from light to dark areas. The X5 handles those transitions way better. You can walk from a shaded area straight into bright sunlight, and it keeps both your face and the sky properly exposed. It's not perfect, but it's a noticeable jump. It feels like the camera finally understands lighting a bit more.
Now I switched to active HDR on all of the cameras, and of course it's not available on all resolution settings, so I had to bring down the resolution to 5.7K on all of the cameras, and I activated active HDR video because I feel like it gives better quality, since there is a lot of light up there in the sky, and down here where I'm at, it's quite, it's more dark, so it should work better, and we can actually see how the footage compares between all of these cameras.
The image doesn't flicker or overcorrect as much. It's smoother and more consistent, which saves a ton of time later when you're editing. But the biggest difference I've seen is in low light. This is where the X5 really stands out, especially if you shoot indoors or at night. I tested all 3 cameras in low light, as you can see in these examples here. And while both the X3 and X4 were already struggling with noise and motion blur, the X5 still managed to capture a clean, usable image. Insta360's new pure video mode on the Insta360 X5 really makes a difference. You can actually see your face even under street lights, and the footage stays surprisingly stable and detailed. For me, this is where the X5 starts to feel like a real upgrade. If you shoot travel videos, vlogs, or anything after sunset, you'll notice this right away. The older models just can't keep up once the light drops. By the way, DJI and GoPro have also just released their new flagship 360 cameras. If you're curious how they compare with the Insta360 X5, especially in low light, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it when that video drops. Now let's see which camera performs best when it comes to audio quality. I recorded this same scene using the X3, X4 and X5. No external mic, no post-processing, everything straight out of camera. Pay attention to how each one handles the sound of the waterfall in the background and my voice in the foreground. The X5 has a built-in wind reduction system that works surprisingly well.
Bear in mind that there is a little background noise because there is a water down here, little waterfall actually. Very small, but still produces a lot of noise, background noise. I'm getting closer to the noise so we can actually compare all of the cameras when there is background noise.
On the X3 and X4, that noise almost takes over when I get closer to the waterfall.
Now let's switch to the X4, and now we switch again to the X3. 1, 2, 3 audio test. Let me know down in the comments how that sounds.
but listen to the X5. It does a much better job keeping my voice clear while still keeping the ambient sound natural.
So we can compare, which camera has better performance when it comes to audio quality. Now, the sound is coming from the Insta360 X5.
It's not perfect, but it's a noticeable improvement, especially if you record a lot of travel vlogs or outdoor clips without an external mic. You'll notice how the older models pick up a lot more of that harsh water noise, while the X5 does a much better job keeping my voice clear and natural.
Now, the sound is coming from the Insta360 X5. And now I'm gonna switch back to the Insta360 X4. Let me know down in the comments how they compare. What do you think about it? Now the sound is still coming from the X4. Now let's switch to the Insta360 X3. Bear in mind that there is a little background noise because there is a water down here.
When it comes to stabilization, Insta360 has always been ahead of the game, and all three cameras here perform really well. I tested them while walking, running and doing a few quick pans, and honestly, the X3 and X4 are already super stable, but the X5 takes it a step further. It feels smoother, especially when there's a lot of movement or vibration. The horizon stays locked even when you turn the camera fast, and the footage looks more natural. Less of that robotic feel you sometimes get from older models. It's not a massive jump if you're coming from the X4, but it's definitely noticeable if you're upgrading from an older model. Now let's talk about build quality, because that's something you really start to appreciate once you've owned a few of these cameras. The X5 feels more premium than the previous models. The body is slightly bigger and heavier, but in a good way. It feels solid, not fragile. The materials are better, the buttons have a nicer click, and the touchscreen is noticeably sharper and more responsive. One of the biggest improvements for me is the replaceable lenses. I've scratched lenses before, and once it happened, that was it. The scratch was visible in every single shot. With the X5, you can just replace the lenses yourself very easily. That's a huge deal if you shoot outdoors or travel a lot. It's also more rugged and waterproof, up to 50 feet or around 50 meters without a case. So if you shoot underwater or in rough weather, it's definitely the toughest one yet. Now let's take a look at how long these cameras last on a full charge. Battery life has definitely improved with each new model. On the X3, I usually got around an hour and 20 minutes of shooting, maybe a bit less if I was recording in higher resolutions or under the sun. The X4 pushed that closer to 2 hours, which already felt like a big step up. But the X5 goes even further. With the new endurance mode, you can record for up to 3.5 hours on a single charge. That's huge for a 360 camera. I actually noticed a big difference the first time I charged it. The battery went from empty to 100% in under an hour. Really impressive for how long it lasts. So should you upgrade? If you're coming from the X3 or an older model, yes, the X5 is 100% worth the upgrade. The difference is noticeable on the X5. Sharper image, better low light, cleaner audio, longer battery life and replaceable lenses. As always, links and prices of these cameras are in the description. If you already have the X4 though, that's where it gets tricky. The X5 is better, no doubt, but unless you really need that low light boost, the X4 still holds up incredibly well, and if you're buying your first 360 camera, it really comes down to budget. The X3 is still a fun, capable camera to start with, while the X4 gives you nearly everything the X5 does at a lower price. But if you want the best overall image quality and you plan to use it seriously for travel, social content or professional work, then the X5 is the one to go for. It's the most capable camera Insta360 has made so far. Either way, all three are great tools. It's just about choosing the one that fits your budget and your style of shooting. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing. I've got more side-by-side tests and creative tips coming up soon. And if you want to see how the Insta360 X5 stacks up to other 360 cameras like the GoPro Max 2 and DJI Osmo 360, click here to watch this video. You'll be surprised how these 360 cameras compare to each other.